So this topic is about the science of the stress. Basically, the science of stress involves the body's complex response to perceived threats or challenges. When we encounter a stressor such as demanding situation or a perceived danger, our body initiate a fight or flight response. There is some psychological stress response, such as when we feel stressed, the brain and body work together to create a psychological stress response. This response can cause a fast heart rate, shallow breathing, sweating, increased blood pressure, and muscle tension. When stress is intense or long lasting, the psychological response may also lead to stomach pain, headaches, chest pain, dizziness, nausea, and fatigue. So, there is the responses in human versus mammals. For example, both humans and mammals use the sympathetic nervous system to trigger the rapid response of the stress. In the mammals, there is instinctive short-term reactions focus on immediate survival. In the humans, they add the cognitive processing, worry, and anticipation of the future threats. So mammals recovers quickly while the human may develop a chronic stress and anxiety. There is some types of the stress. There are two type of the stress. The acute stress, it is a short term response to immediate challenges, for example exam, sudden dangers or competitions. There is some chronic stress. It is a long term exposure to stressors, for example long term illness and poor living environment. These both humans and other mammals experience the acute and the chronic stress. Prolonged stress can negatively affect the health in all mammals. There is the role of environment on stress in humans. The physical environment such as the noise, pollutions, overcrowding and unsafe surrounding increase the stress levels. Some social environment like family dynamics, peer pressures, work or school demand and social support influence the stress perceptions. Some lifestyle factors like the sleep quality, diet, and daily routines can buffer or worsen the stress. Some cultural or societal factors like the expectation, discrimination, and economic pressure impact can cause the chronic stress. So there is some environmental factors which can trigger, amplify, or mitigate stress, supportive environments, and reduce stress effects. So, what are the role of the stress in mammals? Basically, the physical environment, such as the habitat qualities, temperature, space, and shelter, affect stress levels. Some social environments, such as presence or absence of group members, hierarchy, and social interactions, influence the stress. Some compatibility versus wild condition like competitive animals may experience the chronic stress due to confinements. Wild animals face predations and resource challenges. There is some resource availability like the food, water, or nesting sites can increase or reduce the stress. So there is some environmental factors strongly influence stress response and coping mechanisms across the mammals species. The stress response system in human and mammals. The nervous system which detect the stress and trigger the rapid responses. The endocrine system which release the stress hormone which we call the adrenaline cortisol. The immune system which adjusts the body defense during the stress. In overall, this system work together to protect the body in both humans and other mammals. So, stress hormones in human and other mammals. The stress response is highly conserved across humans and mammals, involve the two main systems. Some axis which rapid release of adrenaline and noradrenaline. Hepax axis which I have called the hormonal regulation of the stress. Some shear risk hormones like adrenaline and noradrenaline which trigger the fight or flight response. CRH and ACTH which cause the control A glucosidal release it's present and functions similarly in humans and other mammals. There is some differences. For example, in humans, cortisol is the main glucocorticoid. Many mammals, where the corticosterone is the main glucocorticoid. Both regulate the metabolism, immunity, and the stress feedbacks. So there is the comparison of brain of human versus mammals in stress response. Like in amygdala, in humans it detects the danger and emotional stress, while in mammals it detects the danger and emotional or trigger the fears. Hypothalamus it activates the hormone stress response, while in mammal it activates the hormonal stress response. Prefrontal cortex in humans it have highly developed help reasoning and control, while in case of mammals it is less developed, limited consciousness and control. Stress processing in case of humans stress can be prolonged due to thinking and worry. So in mammal stress response is faster and more instinctive. So now there is a human psychological response to the stress. Stress activates the sympathetic nervous system and HPA axis, which triggering the fight and flight response. Adrenaline and cortisol are released, causing increased heart rate and blood pressures. Rapid breathing and heightened sense release of the glucose and fats for energy reduce the digestion and other non-essential functions. The long-term activations lead to the heart problems and high blood pressures, muscle tensions, headaches and fatigue, digestive issue and weaken the immune system. In general, adaptations alarming the initial fight and flight response, resistance where the body adapt to the stress and exhaustion where the prolonged stress cause the burnout and illness. In case of the immediate response, which we call the SAM axis, where the mammal's physiological response to the stress, where the adrenaline and non-adrenaline release increase in heart rate and blood pressure, faster breathing, energy mobilized, which cause the glucose, other signals, which prolactions, pupils dilations, and reduced digestions. Prolonged response in case of the HP axis, where the CRH have been converted into ACTH, and glucocorticoids, where the cortisol and glucocorticoids regulate the metabolism, energy, and immune function. So, chronic stress can weaken the immunity and cause the wastings. Variations across the species. Variations across the species response differ by species, age, sex, and environment. For example, freezing behavior in some animals. So, what is the thermoregulation and skin response to stress in human? Sweating. Basically, sweating is the primary cooling mechanism. The sweat glands release the moisture, evaporations remove the heat. Vasodilations. It increases the blood flow to the skin, releasing heat. Skin may appear flushed during the stress. Psychological significance. It prevents a dangerous rise in core body temperature and maintain the enzymes and organ functions. So, in case of the panting's increased heat loss through rapid breathing, some mammals sweat minimally or only in the specific areas. Vasodilation also increases the skin blood flow, fur and skin structure influence the heat dissipations. In the psychological significance, stress-induced thermoregulation is essential for survival in all the mammals. So, what is the metabolic response to stress in humans? Basically, stress hormones stimulate the breakdown of glucose, which we call the glycogenolysis. Blood sugar level increase to supply the immediate energy. Fat stores are break down into fatty acids for additional fuels. It support brain function and muscles activity during the stress. So psychological importance, it ensure the quick energy availability and maintain the muscle performance and alertness. In case of metabolic response to stress in mammals, similar hormones drive glucose and fat breakdown. Rapid energy release supports escape and survival behavior. So, a metabolic response is fast and efficient during the acute stress, and energy use ends when the threat is removed. In the psychological importance, it conserves metabolic mechanism across the mammals. So the reproductive system also effect of the stress in the human, like the stress hormones, especially cortisol, suppress the reproductive hormones release. It reduces the secretion of hormones, can disrupt the menstrual cycles and evolutions. In male, stress may lower the testosterone and reduce the sperm production. Energy is reduced from reproduction to vital survival functions. So psychological importance, reproduction is high energy process and it is suppressed during the stress. So allow the body to prioritize the immediate survival for over reproduction. Reproductive system also effect of stress in the humans, like stress inhibit the reproductive hormone activity. Fertility rates may temporarily declines during stressful conditions. Mattings and reproductive process are delayed until stress level decrease. Conserve energy for escape, defense, and adaptations. The psychological importance is that the reproductive is high energy process and suppressed during the stress. This psychological response is conserved across mammal species. So there is the comparative conclusion in the stress psychology in the humans and the mammals. Humans and other mammals exhibit nearly identical psychological stress response driven by the nervous and the endocrine system. In both stress activities, hormones release that alert the heart rate, metabolism, thermoregulations, and reproduction. These responses redirect the energy toward the survival, ensuring the rapid adaptational threatening conditions. So the key difference is that humans experience prolonged stress due to cognitive and emotional factors, while other mammal stress responses are typically short-lived. Overall, stress psychology is an evolutionary conservation mechanisms shared across mammals species. Thank you so much.